ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Thursday Night Football overtime. Texans, Bills. What a football game. Man, that was a lot of fun to watch. I'm good at this shit, man. What did I tell y'all about the Texans defense? I said, this defense deserves better. And I said, they can absolutely win this game tonight. I didn't have the balls to pick it. And I said, Josh Allen is going to have the football. And this is the only thing I got wrong about the game tonight. I said, he's going to have the football down 4, and he's going to take them down the field. I think I said down 3. It was going to be 16-13. And he was going to score a touchdown, and they're going to win 20-16. Well, he had the football down 4 with a chance to take them down the field and win this game by 3. And he wasn't able to get it done because he was harassed by the best defense in football. I know the Denver Broncos have the most sacks in the league by a mile, but this is the best defense I've seen all season, and I've watched them so many times play a game that 9 times out of 10 you win. And I've seen some great defensive performances this year squandered as well. The Texans have at least 3 of them. The Packers, I mean, how many times can the Packers hold an opponent under 13 points and still lose the game, right? They held the Eagles under 13 at 10 points. They held the Browns to 13 points. And who they hold? I think it was there's one more opponent they held to either 13 points or less. It might have been the Panthers, but I think they had like 16 or something like that. But they've played excellent defense this year. Haven't gotten it done. The Texans have played excellent defense. Remember I talked about the game where they forced about 4 turnovers of Sam Darnold in that Seahawks offense and still couldn't score enough points to win that night? This is what they've done this season. I've watched them, beat up teams, hold them down, and the offense just couldn't do enough. And somehow, magically, over this 3-game win streak with Davis Mills in the lineup, they're getting just enough from the offense. The defense is kicking ass, and unbelievably, they are 3-0 without C.J. Stroud. And look at the Texans. They were 0-3, left for dead. People were questioning whether their head coach, DeMeco Ryans, was going to make it out of this thing alive. And we had put them in a box, essentially, and said, hey, we'll open this back up next year. We'll see you next year. Colts had gotten off to this fantastic start. Jacksonville looked like they were the real deal. And the Texans were supposed to be an afterthought. Here we are heading into Thanksgiving. This team is 6-5. They've scratched and clawed their way out of a 0-3 hole, which you rarely see in this league. They're now 6-5, and they're as dangerous as any team in that division. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I trust this Texans offense even with a healthy C.J. Stroud. They've got the weapons, though. If they can ever figure it out offensively, this is one of the most scary teams in the AFC because of what they can do defensively. Let me say this. I can't say this any clearer than I'm going to say it right now. Before I do, let me just set the table for those of you who didn't watch this game. What an epic football game this was. It got slow there in the third quarter with all the injuries. Hell, even the referee got hurt, okay? Even the head official got hurt in this game and had to leave with a non-contact injury that he had to be carted off the actual sidelines with. He had to give up his white cap. I've never seen this before. We've seen referees go down. We've never seen the head official go down, or at least I haven't. He had to take the white hat off his head. I guess they didn't have a spare white hat. I don't want to put another man's sweaty hat on my head. Yuck. That's disgusting. But it had to be done tonight. So we saw everything. Injuries, clock stopped working, head official goes down. We got to take the referee that's on the backside of the play and make him the head official, give him the white cap, put all of the sound equipment on him so he can make the calls to the stadium and to all of us home in America. Unbelievable. But the Texans get the win 23-19. And we talk about extra points and field goal kicking and special teams all the time. And here's another example of your special teams coming back to doom you. You miss an extra point that seems harmless at the beginning of the game when you go down and score in the opening possession, and everyone's excited because James Cook just ripped off this 45-yard touchdown run, and you're high-fiving, you grab some Gatorade, and you're talking about how you set the block up, and you look up and your dumb kicker just missed the extra point. And this is a veteran that is accomplished, that has won Buffalo a game this season. So we're not going to shit on Matt Prater, but you can't miss the extra point, dude. And it didn't seem like a big deal. We'll score more. Don't worry about it. They didn't score more, and they did need that extra point, and they would have just needed a field goal there instead of having to go for it on 4th and 6. They're going to just kick the field goal, tie this thing up at 23, go on to overtime, and they probably would have ultimately won this game. However, you needed a touchdown because you were down 4 because you missed the extra point, but that's another story for another day. Let's talk about the Texans, man. I can't say this any clearer than I'm about to say it. Prevent defense prevents you from winning. Stop doing it. I don't understand for the life of me why teams who are having dominant performance throughout the game decide, with the game in the balance, they've got these clowns 4th and 27. I'm just going to back all my guys up 50 yards and let them get whatever the hell they want. Bro, they got to 4th and 27, and you've stymied them all night playing. When have they gotten a 27-yard gain all night? Other than a Khalil Shakir play on which you blitzed pretty much 6 guys, left him unattended, and 2 guys missed the tackle. When have they gained 27 yards on a single play with you playing your base defense and rushing 4? What are you doing? Why are you backing up to Timbuktu? They backed all the way back up to San Antonio. You lucky you didn't lose the game because of that dumb shit. Stop playing prevent defense. It prevents you from winning the game. That's the only thing that prevent does. Anyway, outside of that, remove that from the equation, because that would have been the talking point. Had they lost this game, had Josh Allen went down and blessed them, had Gabe Davis been able to keep 2 feet in bounds, they would have lost this game. And that's what we would have been talking about, how they blew it. You sacked Allen 7 times. To that point, they ended up getting the 8th sack. You sacked him 7 times. You dominated. You picked him off. You made him look pedestrian. You banged him up. He's going to be sore tomorrow. You did everything. And you lose the game because you decided to go prevent on 4th and 27 after sacking him twice in a row. Luckily enough for them, that's not going to be the storyline leaving this game, because it was too dominant of a performance for that to be the narrative leaving this game, as they sacked Josh Allen 8 times in this ball game, picked him off twice, and befuddled him all night long. All night long, all night. Oh, all night long, all night, all night. He didn't know if he was going left, going right, if they were coming up the middle. He had nowhere to go. Then, to make matters worse, their right tackle, Spencer Brown, gets hurt, and they were just abusing him when he tried to play with the shoulder injury. They put in Vandermark. He got his ass whooped when he came into the game. They had no answers on the left side. Dawkins was getting worked over. The old wily, cagey veteran, damn, well, I can't think of his name. from Philadelphia put a spin move on his ass, put him in the spin cycle. Everybody had some fun. When you get 8 sacks, it's a party. Fiesta, 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 fiesta. Woo! When you get 8 sacks, everybody's getting a piece of the action. Hey, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. It ain't no fun if my homies can't have none. It ain't no fun if Tim Settle can't get one. It ain't no fun if the veteran from Philadelphia can't get one. It ain't fun if Will Anderson can't have 2 or 3. It ain't fun if Daniil can't get one. It ain't fun. They had everybody getting some. It was rough, man. It was rough for Josh Allen tonight. You got 3 turnovers forced in the game. The Texans now on the season defensively have 11 interceptions. They've only given up 10 touchdowns. Let me say that one more time. Let me say that one more time because I don't think you heard me. We are through 12 weeks of football. Can I get a hallelujah? We are through 12 weeks of football. The Houston Texans have 11 interceptions. They've only given up 10 touchdowns. They've got more INTs forced than they do touchdowns surrendered on the season. Can I get an amen from the congregation? Them boys is bad. Damn, they good. Them boys good. Good and terrible. That's Davis Mills. But he reminded you why he's a backup. They should have scored 37 points tonight. Davis Mills is basic, but he didn't do the thing that we're accustomed to seeing Davis Mills and most NFL backups do in situations like this. Let's turn the bitch over. He managed again. You got Jaden Higgins open for a touchdown. The defender is falling down. Where are you throwing the ball, Davis Mills? What are you doing? You got Dalton Schultz up the seam for a touchdown. Sir, what are you doing? Huh? He's a backup, man. Back up off of him. He's a backup. I know he's a backup. But damn, man. Made this a lot. Look, you know my turnovers out. My great field position was squandered tonight because Davis Mills is basic. I digress. This Texans defense is good enough to create some real problems come playoff time if they can just get in. It's not a foregone conclusion that they make it. A lot of traffic that they've got to navigate still. Got some tough ones. They've got Indy twice. They've got the Chiefs next week. They've still got some tough games that they have to navigate to get where they ultimately want to go. But if they can find a way in, they're in the offense. And with the season set up the way, like, peep game. The Bills aren't the Bills this year. We're going to get to them in a second. The Chiefs aren't the Chiefs, and they might not make the damn playoffs while you bullshitting. This Texans defense has already beaten Denver, or they didn't beat Denver, but they can beat Denver. That's defense against defense. We watched that game already. It was 2 defenses beating the shit out of the offense, and one offense did just enough. Just enough. We've seen this before, though. So they can beat Denver. They're going to play Indy twice, and no one's afraid of Indy. Like, I treat Indy like I treat Seattle. You have a liability at quarterback, and until that liability shows me that in the biggest games with pressure applied that he can overcome adversity and play his best brand of football, he's always going to remain a liability. So I look at Seattle, damn, their defense is good, but you still got Sam Darnold at quarterback. I look at Indianapolis the same way. Damn, you got a good team. You got the best running back in football this season. You got all the weapons and receivers and tight ends you could ask for, and you still got Daniel Jones at quarterback. So they can do what they need to do against Indy. And they get to play them, twice in the final, there's 6 and 5, 7, 6 games. They get to play them twice. We'll find out if they can handle Indy or not. New England don't want none of this defense. They don't want any of this defense. Now, New England's defense, I think, could play well against this Texans offense, but they don't want any of this defense. We've seen Drake May turn it over against defenses like this season. This is a scary team. I'll just say that. This is a very scary team, the Texans are. And, man, do they have weapons offensively. I texted my guys in the Commanders Kings in the chat. Like always on a Thursday night, me and Rio are going back and forth. And I texted Rio and I said, man, the Texans have an infinite amount of weapons at their disposal at both the receiver and tight end position, but specifically the receiver position. It's like they just keep coming at you in waves. I'm like, we have to do this for Jaden. They drafted 19 wide receivers and traded for Christian Kirk. And I'm like, is this not overkill? You still have Nico Collins and Tank Dell, even though I know Tank Dell is injured and they don't know when he's coming back. But they did all of this with the mindset of we got Tank Dell and Nico Collins. And again, granted, Tank Dell, serious injury, don't know if he'll ever be the same, don't know when he's coming back, etc. I get all of that. But even if you would have just done nothing else but drafted like one receiver and added Christian Kirk, you'd be like, yeah, man, that's a good group. No. They drafted 2 Iowa State receivers. I don't know where Xavier Hutchinson came from, if he's another drafted guy, if he's undrafted, but they added 3 receivers, traded for Christian Kirk, drafted Woody Marks, added, and this is because they have the injury to Joe Mixon, added Nick Chubb. You already got Dalton Schultz at tight end. Like, what are we talking about? Just instant. It's just amazing to watch what they've built. Now they just have to find a way to get that offensive line to play at a high enough level. And Ariante Ursary looks like he's going to be a solid player for them. And if they could just figure it all out, that Texans offense has weapons. They do. That defense is loaded. And you really want to take advantage of this while you can, because you paid Stingley already at some point. And they did all of this without one of their best defenders tonight. That's the crazy part, is they didn't have Jalen Petrie. He is one of the best nickel / safeties in football. He didn't play tonight. They had the rookie out of Penn State out there, King. And he didn't play poorly. He didn't play great either, though. Gave up the 4th down to Ty Johnson, missed the tackle out in space on the big Khalil Shakir catch and run, on that 3rd down when they blitzed everyone. So he wasn't great tonight, but he was the one that picked up the fumble. Anyway, this Texans team, man, there's something else. This defense in particular, something else. And to think that they gave up 19 points tonight, and 7 of them they weren't even responsible for. That was the special teams giving up the 97-yard kick return for the touchdown. They gave up 12 points tonight, did the Texans defense. They'll get charged for 19, but they only gave up 12 points tonight. There's something else, man. There's something else. They're number 1 in defense in about 7 to 10 statistical categories for a reason. You saw it tonight. What a win. That's 3 in a row with Davis Mills, man. Wow. Good for him, too, Good for him. That Jaguars comeback 2 weeks ago was special. Last week, you just find a way to win on the road against a bad Tennessee Titans team. Just find a way to win. It doesn't have to be pretty, just gritty, and most importantly, a dub. They did that. And then tonight, on a quick turnaround Thursday night. This is a gutsy performance. You get it done. That's big time. That's big time. And like I said, just take care of the football, man. Your defense is like that. Just take care of the ball. Missed some throws, made some throws, but ultimately don't make the back-breaking mistake. This defense is good enough. Like I said, end every possession with a kick, and that's what they did tonight. Don't be over-aggressive going for it on fourth down when you don't need to. They did go for it a couple of times. Woody Marks. Let me just talk about him real quick, and then we'll get to Buffalo. Woody Marks. What more can I say about Woody Marks? I'll tell you what. That son of a runs hard. I am surprised because Woody Marks coming out of USC was supposed to be more of a third down receiving back slasher type that could run the ball, but his profile, stated that he'd be somewhat of a change of pace type guy. His fourth down runs were the most impressive thing he did tonight. He had 2 fourth down runs where he was contacted behind the line of scrimmage and had no business picking up the first down, and he got both of them. And that is a testament to his physical run style, his outstanding contact balance, and his forward lean. Like, do you know how many backs would have gotten stopped on those plays? Chubb would have got stopped on those plays tonight for sure. So Woody Marks has added a little something to this Texans offense as the lead dog in that backfield. And he had another solid performance tonight. What a win for the Texans. At 6-5 now, they have a legitimate shot at having a season. To think that they were 0-3 to start and they've won 6 out of their last 8. Unbelievable. Didn't think we'd be here talking about this, having this discussion about them being over 500 with still 6 games to go on the season. Remarkable. And 3 of those games, the last 3 have come without your starting quarterback. Now, they played the right teams in Jacksonville and Tennessee to try to win. But they were down pretty significantly against Jacksonville and found a way to come back and win. Again, you got to give Davis Mills credit there. And then last week, it wasn't pretty, but it was a win. Tonight was huge. You go to the other side, and for the first time in about maybe 4 years, the Buffalo Bills are not going to win the AFC East. Brady handed them the baton back in 2019, I believe. I think that was the last year that Brady was in New England, and they won the division that year, if I'm not mistaken. Lost in the first round to the Titans, and that was that. In 2020, Brady went to Tampa, handed the baton to Josh Allen and the Bills and said, here, you run with it. And they hadn't looked back since. This is the first year they're not going to win the division. And they're in trouble. You know, what I found really funny tonight, and, shout out to Kirk Herbstreit. He does a phenomenal job with these games. Is early in the game when the Bills were having success on offense and Allen he had hit 7 or 8 different receivers. What's fascinating about this offense is there's no true number 1 wide receiver, and they're just glazing Josh Allen because he's doing this without a number 1 wide receiver. And it's a testament to his ability to find the open receiver and to spread the ball around. And you can't really focus on any guy because there's not that one go-to receiver. It's like Tom Brady when he had all of those years in New England, except for when he had Randy Moss. You just didn't know where he was going to go with the football. So they're glazing him, right? And now he's getting his ass kicked 2 quarters later, right? Just getting his back kicked in. Now all of a sudden, it's so hard for Josh Allen to go out there. I mean, you really got to give this guy, credit because it's tough. He doesn't have Keon Coleman. No, first of all, let's not act like Keon Coleman's hurt and he's this beast receiver. This man is a healthy scratch for the 2nd week in a row. Don't act like Keon Coleman is this massive difference maker. If he was, his ass would have been active tonight. Okay? So spare me on he's without Keon Coleman. I talked about not having Dalton Kincaid. That shit matters. We saw it matter for Detroit against Philadelphia on Sunday night. When you don't have your big-time tight end over the middle of the football field, it changes things, right? Dawson Knox is cool. He ain't Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is essentially the Bills' number one wide receiver. So all of a sudden now, we went from, oh, Josh Allen is so great. He's spreading the ball around. He doesn't have a number one receiver, and it makes it so hard for them to defend. To, oh, man, you got to cut him some slack, man. He doesn't have Keon Coleman. You know, guys aren't getting separation. There's no true number one wide receiver out here. You don't have Dalton Kincaid. Which one is it? Which one is it? You got to pick a struggle. You can't play both sides of the fence, Kirk. When it's working, oh, Josh Allen is great. He's doing this. It's so hard to defend them. They've got so many guys he can get the football to, oh, shit, they don't have a number one receiver. This is really tough on him. Yeah, you don't say. It's why we've been saying this for the longest time, and their GM, Brandon Beane, gets pissed off anytime somebody brings up that Josh Allen doesn't have a legitimate number one. He's got to go do that bullshit he did last week and be Superman and put on the cape and score 6 touchdowns by himself because they don't have guys. When is this shit going to stop? When are they going to actually invest in a real number one wide receiver? Yes, Josh Allen is great. Yes, he's the league MVP. But you know what would make him even better, even more unstoppable, is if you gave him a dude, a guy, just one. All the rest of he got 22 twos. You just give him a one, and it'll set the whole thing off. I promise you. How many first-round corners you going to take that don't work before you just give this man a first-round wide receiver? How many times are you going to do it? Anyway, I digress. The Bills defensively actually didn't play terribly tonight. They didn't play terribly. I didn't think they would because it's Davis Mills. So I thought they'd keep the score relatively low. And you got to credit the Bills defense, to be honest. They were put in some tough spots due to the turnovers tonight. You know, Allen had the pick six that was negated by the block in the back. That's still tremendous field position. They forced him to kick a field goal. Allen had Shakir, had the fumble. Tremendous field position, forced him to kick a field goal. So you gotta give them credit. They were able to keep this game a lot closer than it should have been, based off of the mistakes that were made. Offensively, the Bills are an enigma because I was rooting for James Cook to not get a certain amount of carries, but he should have been touching it a lot more. He was killing the Texans defense tonight. Killing them. Something vicious. And I don't think they gave it to him enough. Really, they were having problems with all of the backs out of the backfield. They had problems with Ty Johnson out of the backfield catching the football. And I knew they were going to get him the football tonight because he started to come on. Because as there's no Dalton Kincaid, somebody's got to step up. So they turned to Ty Johnson, and he was huge. You got to find a way to get James Cook more involved. When he is cooking like he was tonight, let James cook. Let him cook. If you don't want, if they start to load up on the run, okay, fine. Throw James a screen, bro. Them same screens you throwing to Khalil Shakir, who ain't finna do shit with it, throw that bitch to James Cook. Get him in space. He can do the rest. He should have been force-fed the football tonight in a multitude of ways. I love Ty Johnson. I love what they do with him. And they could have done more with James because they couldn't stop James tonight. What James end up with? James had to end up with James had to end up with well over 100 yards rushing. What James end up with? James ended up with 17 carries, 116 yards. 3 catches, 13 yards. James should have had over 20 carries tonight. That's real talk. They were never down enough to where he shouldn't, gotten the football. Now, granted, what saved me, and they almost pissed me off because he had 11 carries at one point in the third quarter. And I was like, oh, I'm safe. Ain't no way. Matter of fact, he had 11 carries going into the fourth quarter. And then on the first drive of the fourth quarter, when they went down and got that field goal, they gave it to him 5 times on that drive, including the fourth down play where he got stopped. Bet they wish they would have kicked that damn field goal, huh? Teams are always so damn aggressive in these situations. Sometimes you got to understand who your opponent is. You playing Kansas City, yeah, you go for it on fourth down. You playing a team that can score, that hey, this might not be enough. You playing the Texans, bro. Like, they not scoring no more points tonight. They done. You would have took that field goal right there. You would have just needed a field goal at the end to win. But, again, hindsight is 20/20, man. At that time, they were down 7. They had a chance to tie the game up. I get it. I personally, it's 4th and 1. It's so tempting to go for it there. Maybe a Josh Allen run in that situation, but I probably would have just taken the points. Just off the strength of my opponent being the Houston Texans and not thinking that they were going to score again, I would have probably just taken the points. But, it is what it is. Ultimately, they got stopped there. And I feel like you saw Josh Allen's reaction on the sidelines. Like, what are we doing? Like, that wasn't a great play call. A long, slow developing run play with guys pulling. And this is a lot of activity in that space. Again, I think of James Cook, and I want to get him out on the perimeter. I think of Josh Allen. I want to get him the football in his hands. How about a speed option with those two involved? How about something to the perimeter? Because the Texans are so stout inside. They have the speed now, as we know, to get to that outside and go sideline to sideline. But when the Bills had their biggest plays of the day, it was all to the perimeter. It was all to the outside, except for the James Cook run. Everything was outside. So I would have made them run, but they got to get creative. You saw even on that final drive, they had to get creative to move it down the field because they couldn't protect Josh Allen. And that's a testament to this Texans defense. But everything was on the perimeter that was working. So I don't understand why on fourth down, and that's a great play by Will Anderson on that third down there at the end, because what got them to that 4th and 1 that ultimately turned into a 4th and 6 from the false start was him jumping up in the air because Khalil Shakir was wide open in the flats. That was going to be a first down. But he saw it. He realized I'm not getting there. And he tried to pick that baby off. He wasn't trying to bat it down. He tried to pick it off. Those boys are something terrible over there, man. Them dudes is different, bro. Mario Edwards got a sack tonight. I'm seeing dudes I ain't seen in 4-5 years popping up on the screen with a sack tonight, man. An 8-piece? An 8-piece with fries and a drink? Stop playing, man. Not an 8-piece with fries and a drink. That's a different type of defense, man. That's a different type of defense. Buffalo's in trouble. They're in trouble because when they see defenses like this, they've struggled this season. Every time. Unequivocally. They've struggled. And you just don't know what week it's going to be with them. Miami got, and it's always Miami in Miami when Josh Allen struggles like that. I removed that one off the board, right? But they struggled against Baltimore in week 1, if you recall. Had that miracle comeback, should have lost that game. They really got their asses handed to them against Atlanta. They were even lucky to be in that game with a similar defense to the one the Texans have, except Atlanta's not as good in the secondary, but they can get after the quarterback, and they gave Josh Allen fits. Same thing we saw tonight. Second year in a row, the Texans have taken it to Josh Allen, BTA, and come away with a win. And newsflash, Bills get in, don't win the division. You're more likely, as a wild card, heading to one of these two places, Denver or Houston. What you think is going to happen, bro? It's going to be much of the same. So the good thing about the AFC, and I'll say this and then we'll get to the skill game. The good thing I could say about the AFC is that none of these elite defenses, and really around the league, if you've watched football this year, none of the elite defenses is complemented by a good offense. None of them are. Not Philadelphia, not Seattle, not Green Bay, not Denver, not Houston. So that's what's saving everybody right now. If one of those teams had a competent, a solid NFL offense, the league would be in trouble this year. Because we've seen some elite performances defensively from all 5 of those teams. Those are and the Rams are the closest, but their defense isn't elite. It's a good unit. It's not elite. It's not Seattle's defense. It's not Philadelphia's defense. It's not Houston's defense. It's not Denver's defense. And to a lesser degree, it's not Green Bay's defense. I don't think Green Bay's defense is elite, but it's really good. I think your 4 elite defenses right now are Philadelphia, Seattle, Houston, and Denver. None of them sport a dynamic offense. Seattle is the closest. But they got Sam Darnold. I can't get over that. I watched this man throw 4 picks against the Los Angeles Rams this past week. I can't get over that, bro. I'm sorry. They got Sam Darnold at quarterback. I watched this Texans defense force like 4 turnovers against Sam Darnold in that Seattle Seahawks offense, but they couldn't score. So I can't get that out of my brain when I think about Seattle. But that's the reason why they're one of the best teams in football, because they do have an above average offense to go along with that elite defense. But when they need that offense the most, they haven't gotten it done. See the Tampa Bay game. With the game on the line in a shootout, what does Sam Darnold do? Throw an interception that leads to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers touchdown, walk-off field goal, and they lose. That's why I can't look Seattle in the eye and be like, I'm taking you serious right now. Because when they need that offense the most, they don't get it. And I don't even know if I can call that defense elite, because I watched Tampa shred them in their own building. Shred them. That's not what elite defenses do. I ain't seen nobody go up and down the field on the Texans this year. You know what? We throw around this elite word too often. You know what? The Texans defense is probably the only elite one in the league this season. Denver's defense is really good, but I watched the Giants of all teams carve them up for 3.5 quarters. That shit ain't elite. Philadelphia's defense is, it's good. But I saw the Giants do them in on a Thursday night as well. We've seen them get barbecue chickened up a couple of times this season. I don't know if I could call them. They play an elite defense right now, though. Houston is the only one. I told you, they've only given up 10 touchdowns this season total. We've had more weeks of football than Houston Texans touchdowns given up. That's elite. if they could just get this offense to play at a high enough level, good gracious, we could have something here, man. The Bills, though, they in some trouble. They in some trouble, man. They got some problems on their hands because the second-round pick receiver that they thought they were going to get to be their number one ain't what they thought they were getting. I could have told them that, but don't nobody listen to me anyway. So, it's the Josh Allen show all over again. And this time, the defense, this was the difference last year. The defense was creating turnovers out the wazoo last year. They weren't a great unit by any stretch of the imagination defensively last year, but they could produce turnovers. They got injuries this year defensively. They're not producing the football. So now it's really all on Josh Allen. And they just don't have enough. They don't have enough. The New England Patriots and Denver Broncos are going to win their respective divisions this season. Are you kidding me? What world are we, what alternate universe are we living in right now? What dimension is this? This can't be real life. You could have the Denver Broncos, New England Patriots. Tom Brady is not their quarterback, and Bill Belichick is not their head coach. And the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning nor Andrew Luck is quarterbacking that team. Tony Dungy isn't walking on that sideline right now. These could be your top three seeds in the AFC with no Buffalo, Baltimore, or Kansas City in sight. And hell, the latter of that bunch, the Kansas City, the City Chiefs, could be on the outside looking in of the postseason. The team that's gone to the AFC Championship game like 10 years in a row has won their division like 10 years in a row. I think they've been to 9 straight AFC title games, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that team could be out of the playoffs. This shit is upside down, man. I can't say that I hate it, though. I'll only hate it if somehow the Philadelphia Eagles get to the Super, because who's beating them on the AFC side? Who's beating them? If the Ravens can figure the shit out, this could be Lamar Jackson's chance. But we said the same shit last year and he didn't get it done. But this feels like an opportunity for it to be, this is the year. There's no Mahomes potentially. There will be no Burrow, more likely than not. There'll be no Allen potentially to stand in your way. It'll be a bunch of youngins. It'll be Drake May and Bo Nix and Daniel Jones. Who's stopping you? You just got to get in and win your division if you're Baltimore. You just got to get in, win your division. That'll allow you to steer clear of anybody that's good in the first round. Maybe you mess around. And the only thing that I can say is if you might mess around as the 4 seed and get Buffalo in the first round. God damn it. You know, that's what I would say if I were them. Like, of all the teams, I'm pulling the first round. Where are the Chargers at? Where are the Jags? Somebody, anybody but Buffalo. Let me get them in the second round if I got to play somebody crazy, which you wouldn't more likely than not have to, because you would hope somebody else would do your dirty work for you. I can tell you if you're Baltimore, what you don't want to see, and even though that Ravens team has this this Texans team's number, Lamar Jackson don't want to see this defense this year. This is a different animal. You don't want to see this defense this year. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the skill game. Brought to you by Sleeper. We'll come back on the other side, get to the comment section, see what you guys are talking about.
The skill game brought to you by Sleeper.
All right, Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app that focuses on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Over 10 million active users on Sleeper. You can become one of them by simply clicking the link that is in the description of this video. It'll take you to where you can download the app. If you already have the app, then you're ahead of the game. If you don't, make sure Sleeper is available in your area. It's available in over 30 states. Once you verify that you are who you say you are, they're going to give you $20 free for becoming a member of the Sleeper family. In addition to that, I advise you to use my promo code. On top of that $20, let's get you some more money in your account so you can go win some more money. Use the promo code LTN to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. That's right, a dollar for dollar match. I advise you to go ahead and max that thing out. You can only do it once. Put in 100. They'll give you an additional 100 on top of the 20 you have. That's $220. Now you can do some serious damage. So with that said, let's take a look at what happened tonight for me. And it was not a great night for the good guy. So you see a lot of green here, as you customarily do with me. I always take it too far, which I did again tonight. So Kamimi Fairbairn, I told you he's going to kick field goals. That's what the Texans do every single week. So that was easy. I told you Jaden Higgins is emerging as the real number 2 receiver out there after Nico Collins. So the 2.5 and the 29 yards, those were gimmies. Those were layups. He could have had even more if Davis Mills wasn't Davis Mills. He would have probably had over 100 yards tonight. But he got both of those done, had 4 catches, had 38 yards. Check. Ty Johnson, I told y'all before the game, he's starting to become that fixture that he was. He was a glue guy for this offense last year. I really don't know what happened at the beginning of the season this year, why he wasn't more heavily involved in the pass game, but they've rediscovered him probably out of necessity because there's no Dalton Kincaid. And so knew he was going to have a catch that was over. As a matter of fact, on the very first drive of the game, in their first 15 scripted, they had a Ty Johnson play where they threw him a swing screen, got him out in space, and he picked up like 13 yards. I was like, well, that's off the list right out of the gate. So his longest game was 23 tonight. So he made that very easy. He had 3 catches for 45 yards tonight. James Cook, I felt confident that he wouldn't get 18 carries. He rarely gets 18 carries. And in order for him to get over 18 carries, they've got to be playing with the lead, and Allen has to be turning around and handing it off consistently. That's not what was going to happen tonight, because this was going to be a close game throughout because of that Texans defense, unless, as I told you earlier, Davis Mills isn't on his best behavior, and he was tonight. So unless there were turnovers by the Texans that allowed the Bills to score points, this is going to be a close, low-scoring game. They actually scored more points. The 2 teams did. I thought only one team did make it to the 20s, which is what I had envisioned. But I thought one team was going to barely make it to the 20s, and the other was going to be in the mid-teens. Because I told you I thought the score was going to be 20-16 Bills. Ended up being 23-19 Texans. But Cook did not hit. And it was crazy because he had 11 going into the fourth quarter. I felt confident. And then I told you that one drive, that first drive of the fourth quarter, he had 5 carries, including that 4th down and 1 carry that was a dumb decision by Buffalo. So that left him with 16 carries with about 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm in trouble. But the Texans had a little drive there. And then by the time that drive was over, Buffalo was kind of in, all right, we got to throw the football mode. So I got saved by the bell there. So he barely squeezed under the 17.5. I hate that I wasted that. That's good fortune when you put a ticket together and you hit something like under 17.5 rush attempts and it stops at 17. That's good fortune that you shouldn't waste. I wasted that tonight. I wasted the good surprise on you. I was talking to my guy, TA. Shout out to my guy, TA, earlier today on the skill game. And TA was like, bro, that Chubb probably going to mess your ticket up. I was like, you're probably right. I debated, and I showed everybody. I debated over 3 different. I said, I'm taking Nick Chubb. This Bills rush defense isn't very good. I'm taking Nick Chubb tonight. They're giving me some Nick Chubb action. I got to take it. So it was 8.5, his longest rush. It was 5.5 carries, which was 6 he would have needed. And it was 28 yards. I'm like, I don't like the yards, but I do like the 8.5 yard rush. He just needs 1 carry. That's 9 yards. And I said, I do love the 5.5, but the carries had gone steadily down as Woody Marks has become a bigger part of this offense. And I went back and forth. Initially, I took him at 5.5 carries. I second guessed myself, went back, changed it to the longest run. The man had a 7-yard run early in the game. I said, he gonna get one for 9, man. Watch. Never got close to a 9-yard run, but he did have 6 carries tonight. And you know, I was beating myself up in the fourth quarter when he got that last token carry. I said, you got to be kidding me. I would have felt a lot better if he'd have stopped at 5. And I could have just lived with the fact that he didn't get the 9-yard carry, but to get that last token carry in the fourth quarter to get him to 6, knowing that I had mulled that decision back and forth and didn't go with it, it made me feel it doesn't matter because Dalton Schultz was open 59,000 times tonight, and Davis Mills failed to get him the football accurately. Remember the corner route where he had 2 receivers wide open? I don't know if somebody ran a wrong route. Doesn't matter. He had Higgins wide open and Dalton Schultz both open on that opening possession that they had to settle for. Matter of fact, I don't even know if they got a field goal out of that possession. I think they ended up punting the football. They may have gotten a field goal, but I know they didn't score a touchdown. And he got 2 guys wide open, and he airmailed it over both of their heads. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Then he had Schultz for the touchdown up the seam. He killed me. He sold me on my Dalton Schultz catches. Schultz should have easily had 3 catches tonight on his 4 targets. And then the one that I didn't have a chance, I never stood a chance, was Xavier Hutchinson, who last week had 5 catches. But I told y'all the week prior to last week, he had 0 catches. I said, this could happen again. And it happened again. He didn't even get targeted tonight. So I didn't stand a chance. I didn't stand a chance. But this is because I was being too greedy. I hit 5 of these out of 8. Friends know when to say when. At some point, you just got to say, yeah, probably not going to hit all of that. You probably should just trim it down to the best of the best. And the 5 things that I hit on were the things I was really confident about Dalton Schultz. I'm not going to sit here and hold you. If you'd have told me, hey, you got to condense this down to 5 things that you expect to happen, I would have taken the James Cook carries out and I would have inserted Dalton Schultz. So I still would have lost, right? Because I was sure you couldn't tell me Dalton Schultz wasn't going to have 3 catches tonight. They had his number at 4.5. And I said, just to be safe, because I think he could have 5 catches tonight, but just to be on the safe side, I'll bust him down to 3 catches. It still wasn't enough. So it just wasn't my night. But the real heartbreaker for me wasn't on the NFL side. It was on the NBA side. Look at all this green, man. I've won on the NBA 2 nights in a row, and I was looking to make it 3. And I did all of this. All of this was good stuff. And then 1 rebound. This is one of my go-to guys, Dyson Daniels. 1 rebound. That's all I needed. Come on, Dyson, man. Don't do me like that, bro. That was another hundo piece. So I'll get him next time. I'll get him tomorrow. No worries. I'll be back on my grind tomorrow. But I'm still on the most nastiest, dirty, dick, dastardly losing streak in the NFL space. I've got to bring that to an end here shortly. This is getting out of control now. So anyway, I digress. Big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this stream. Use my promo code LTN to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100.
The Skill Game, brought to you by Sleeper.
Let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say, and then we will skedaddle. Ash, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ash writes, as a Houston fan, I have been wanting the Colts. You're going to get them. And they have the Chiefs this week. This is the Chiefs' last stand. If the Chiefs cannot beat the Indianapolis Colts at home this week, they are done. Stick a fork in them. They're finished. Putting their ass in the oven right next to the stuffing and the Thanksgiving turkey because they're done. If they can't get it done tonight, they're cooked. They're cooked. Or excuse me, if they can't get it done on Sunday, they're cooked. So you could get Indy losing, coming off of a loss, and you're hot right now. That's 3 straight. The division isn't out of reach necessarily. As crazy as that sounds, and as good as Indianapolis started off this season, division is not out of reach. But you are going to need a little bit of help. But the beauty is you got them twice. So you can do your part. They still got some tough games on the schedule due to the Indianapolis Colts. So Anything's possible, especially with Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. So now be careful what you ask for, Ash. You just might get it. You're going to get the Colts all right. But with the way your defense is playing, Daniel Jones, he struggles against defenses like that. Your defense is the type of defense that'll force Daniel Jones to turn it over 3 or 4 times. So you're in a really good spot. C. Jackson 1717. Thank you for being a member for 50 months. Celebrate! Could you imagine if we had a pass rush like Houston? No, I can't imagine that. I've never seen anything like that wearing a burgundy and gold uniform. So no, I can't imagine that. The closest this team has ever come to having a pass rush like that is Charles Mann and Dexter Manley. And they didn't have the kind of dogs, you know, up and down that defensive line with Manley and Mann, right? Like they had some solid guys inside, you know, Darryl Grant and guys like that. But this it ain't this shit. Did you see our old buddy Tim Settle out there? He been hooping, bro. I think I said this on the Commanders Kings show. Tim Settle is better than any defensive tackle we have off the bench right now. I'm not sure he's a starter in Houston. I think he's a rotational guy. Even if not, would you not take Tim Settle on our team? Well, I shouldn't say that. I wouldn't take him over Daron Payne and Javon Kinlaw, but Settle be hooping. He had a tackle for loss and a sack tonight. Our guys aren't doing that. But our guys also don't have Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter on the outside. What is that dude from Philadelphia's name? I want to call him Barrett. His name is not Barrett, but it's got 2 T's at the end, I believe. Why can't I think of his name? I can't remember his name, but he put a vicious spin move on Dawkins tonight. They come at you in waves, man. No, I can't imagine a pass rush like the one we saw tonight in the Commanders. You know, I would lose my mind, bro. We can't have nice things. Derek Barnett, there you go. Who was that? Thank you, Sheree. Derek Barnett. I don't know. I knew he had 2 T's at the damn end. I was like, I want to call him Barrett. I know his name ain't Barrett. I was off by a letter. Barnett. Yeah, he's a good guy as well, man. They got some stuff, bro. Sheldon Rankins is a problem up front. They just come at you in waves. Swaggy P. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Allen at home equals Superman. Allen on the road equals Clark Kent. You're not wrong. They have 4 losses this season. I can't recollect what the 4th loss is, but I know they lost to Miami, Atlanta, and now the Texans. All 3 of those were on the road. I'm trying to think about who the other loss. Oh, New England. That's the one. That was at home too. So, or that one was on the road at home. That's the lone home loss of the season for the Bills. But you're not wrong. But also, it just seems like the best defenses that he's faced this season have all been on the road too. I just think good defenses, because like it's the same thing when people are like, well, Jaden Daniels, if he's so good, why he need all? No, every quarterback needs your guy. You need a number 1 receiver, bro. I don't give a shit who you are. Like Tom Brady, everybody says, oh, Brady didn't have enough. Brady had Gronk. That was his number 1. And for Josh Allen this year, Dalton Kincaid is his number 1 receiver. It's okay to have a tight end be your number 1 receiver. Well, Dalton Kincaid is out. You see how much difference it makes? Last week, he had to put on the entire Superman outfit for them to beat Tampa Bay. 6 touchdowns this man accounted for. They're in trouble, man. The Bills are in trouble. I think this is going to be the year, especially if Mahomes and the Chiefs don't make the playoffs. This will be a missed opportunity, and I think it will force their front office to finally get Josh Allen a true number one wide receiver. I told him at the damn trade deadline, I got Deebo Samuel for sale. Come and get him. They ain't want him. I could have helped. Let me help. Jaden Doffelmeyer, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jaden writes, I'm convinced having a turnover gene is a real thing. Texans have multiple guys that have that gene. Commanders have zero. Ding, 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 Jaden. That is a real thing because you can't teach turnovers. You can't. It's innate. You can't teach a guy to punch at the football because if it's not in my brain, if it's not registering that I should come over here and try to punch the ball out. I don't care how much you rep it in practice. How many drills you have with them with boxing gloves on their hands and they're punching. If you either Josh Norman or you Shaq Leonard or you Fred Warner or you Aluakon from the Jaguars or you the originator, Peanut Tillman, you got those guys, they're not thinking about just making the tackle, bro. That ain't good enough. I'm coming to punch the football out. I'm not thinking about just making a tackle. My teammate already got you. You going down. I'm not thinking about helping them. Our dodos want to go help. I'm going to go stick a shoulder in there. Oh, yeah, I'm going to show him. Yeah, I'm going to make sure he hits the ground hard. Yeah. Yeah. We got dodos who think they're tough guys. The Texans have dogs who go after the football. It's in the air. It's just as much mine as it is yours. That ball's in flight. I'm trying to go get it. Our guys going for the kill shot. We want to lower the shoulder. We want to hit you. Hey, Jartavius, the ball was right there, bro. If you was actually looking for it, you might have picked it off. But you so pressed to go hit somebody. The Texans like, I don't care about hitting you, bro. I'm trying to go get this football. What you talking about? The hell with what you talking about. I'm going to get the rock. That's what the elite defenses do. That's what the defenses that actually create turnovers do. They look for the football. Our guys ain't looking for the rock. I do think there's a turnover gene. I do think that is innate. DaRon Bland, for as basic as he is as a corner on a normal day, you make a mistake around DaRon Bland, he taking the football away, bro. He's not looking to break it up. He ain't looking to break on the ball and hit you so he can get up and do this dumb shit. He trying to take that bitch the other way for 6. Too many of our guys is too happy getting up. Take that bitch away. You want to impress somebody? Take it away. They want to get up. No, you get a thumbs down because you had a chance to force a fumble and you decided, I'm going to hit him really hard. That'll show him. Jaden Doffelmeyer, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Jartavius Martin wishes he was Cole Bishop. I wish Jartavius Martin was Cole Bishop. It's funny that you brought him up. Me and Rio were texting back and forth about Cole Bishop tonight. I loved him coming out of Utah. And before I could type it to Rio put in all caps, man, I love Cole Bishop coming out of the draft. I was like, man, me too, bro. Me too. He said they don't never listen to us, man. I said ever, never ever. Cole Bishop is a dog. He is a dog. You see the tackle he made on Nico Collins? after hitting him and Nico bounced off of him. And he can't even see Nico. He just grabbed the back of his ankle like, nah, bro. You trying to score this 62-yard touchdown. You won't on my watch. He be breaking on the football. Cole Bishop be picking shit off. He an animal, bro. He got the juice now. You see what I just did there? Probably not. Tell him again, Miss Perry. The way we live is not for everyone. It's not for everybody. Okay. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner. What about taking the football away, though? What about that part? Yeah, we do the run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner. We do that shit well when we group tackle. We ain't looking to get the ball out, though. What about the ball coming out? What about that part? What about us recovering at football? What about us picking the football off? What about all those things? The way we live is definitely not for everybody. Because if you did live the way that we lived, your team would be 3-8 as well. You don't want any parts of this shit. Barry Curtis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Barry Curtis, writes, we got to get Jaden a young stud receiver so that he never is in this situation that Josh is in. Well, he shouldn't be in this situation, you know, as long as Terry stays healthy. But I just think you need to have another. You're not wrong. We need to draft another receiver because we just saw what it looks like when you don't have your number one out there, right? We are literally a Terry McLaurin injury away from looking like what Josh Allen has to deal with. And guess what? That's what it's looked like all season for Jaden Daniels. That's what it's looked like all season. So that's why I commend the Texans, because they understand life without Nico is not sustainable. It's not where you want to be. But hey, we got this young fella, Jaden Higgins. We got Jalen Noel. We got Christian Kirk. We got enough dudes that'll help us survive if, God forbid, anything happens to Nico Collins again. We got him a tight end in Dalton Schultz. CJ Stroud should be able to survive if there's no Nico Collins. They didn't say, well, shit, Nico's down. Let's go get Robbie Chosen. No, they said, we're going to load up on young receivers so that if anything happens, we already lost Tank Dell. We're going to go load up on young receivers and bring in the veteran Christian Kirk just for good measure. I was praying that man got to free agency. The Texans were so smart. All it took was a 7th-round pick to get him. He was this close to the Jags releasing him, and he was coming. He was making a beeline for Cliff. Oh, my God. Cliff was going to vouch for him. He was going to be in Washington. Me and Rio were talking about that tonight. And the Texans like, we seen this man for the last 3 years in our division. We know how good he is. We'll slide you a 7th-round pick. Let me get him up off you. Jags like, I don't give a shit. It's green, right? It's spend, right? I don't care where the money came from. Yeah. You can have him. So we just got to make sure that we surround Jaden with talent. That's all. Like, that should be a never-ending quest. You look at Jared Goff, and I know Jared Goff isn't an elite quarterback, but they surrounded him with elite talent. They surrounded him with elite talent. And they believe in that Isaac Tesla kid that they drafted in the 3rd round. I don't know how good he's going to be, but they had Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they have J-Mo, and they have Sam Laporta, and they have Sonic and Knuckles. And they still went out and spent the 3rd round pick on a wide receiver, bro. They didn't have to do that. But they did anyway. We have to continue to invest in Jaden, but I do recognize that the defense is bad and it needs work. And you have to invest on that side of the football as well. So that's their job to figure all of that shit out, not ours. But we need a lot of stuff. We need a lot of stuff. And it's not going to happen overnight, right? Not going to happen overnight. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Thursday Night Football Overtime. What a good one we had tonight. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come in Week 12. Since our boys don't play, I want to see some good football. And if this is a precursor of things to come, we are in for a treat this weekend. Last weekend was really good. So I hope we get a repeat of that. Texans get the win, 23-19 over the Buffalo Bills. Big upset. Winners of 3 straight. Texans are now over 500 for the first time this season after starting the year 0-3. Look at the Houston Texans at the 12-week mark heading into Thanksgiving. Wow. What a quick turnaround. And all of this done here recently over this 3-game win streak without their leader, CJ Stroud, who was out with a concussion that he suffered against the Denver Broncos 3 weeks ago. Wowzers. What a win for the Texans. This defense is the best in football, and they proved it tonight, sacking Josh Allen 8 times. That is a career high for Josh Allen in the number of times he was sacked in a single game. The previous high was 7. He was sacked 8 times tonight. 2 interceptions, including the game-clinching interception on the final offensive snap for Buffalo inside the Texans' 20-yard line on a 4th and 6. And they forced a fumble of Khalil Shakir as well. 3 turnovers forced, 8 sacks. Pretty much held this Buffalo Bills high-octane offense that scored damn near 40, scored over 40 last week, to less than 20 points. And again, they'll be charged with 19 points to their account. 7 of those points was a kickoff return, a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. They really only gave up 12 points tonight. Unbelievable performance by the Houston Texans. 1 touchdown surrendered, 12 points, 8 sacks, 3 turnovers forced, and a game-clinching stop after they squandered a 4th and 27 on the final drive. It felt like it was going to be Baker Mayfield all over again with that crazy run that Baker had at the end of that game when he got away on 4th down and then ended up breaking their back. I broke my back. But it wasn't meant to be. Bills, on the other hand, squandered an opportunity to stay connected to New England. It feels like that division is slipping away by the week. And it feels like they're going to lose this division to the Patriots. Still a lot of football left to be played, but the Patriots' schedule stinks. Like, they don't play anybody good down the stretch. I think they got 1 date against the Ravens, and then they play this Bills team, and that is it. Everybody else, not only are they sub 500, like they're really bad, like 3-8, 4 and 2-9, like those type teams. They're going to win that division, are the Patriots. Bills are still getting in. They're still a playoff team. As long as Josh Allen. Oh, and speaking of Josh Allen, who didn't hold their breath when he went down and he was kicking his feet like a little 5-year-old on the ground, writhing in pain? Who didn't hold their breath? I know I did. Oh, shit. I think I might have stopped breathing for about 7 seconds or so. I'm glad he's all right, man. Lord knows the NFL doesn't need another star quarterback going down. So I was so glad when he got up. Anyway, I digress. Y'all have a good night. Take care. See you guys tomorrow. God bless. Good night. Peace.